Hi everyone, welcome back to LARP. It's Faye here, and I am here today. I know I just posted a video, but I wanted to talk to you guys about a recent LARP House video, the comments on it, and Cheyanne's response to those comments. Because I think it's really important that when someone in our community is being harassed about something, we talk about it and we come together and we support that person, because we're all here to have fun and enjoy ourselves and do this crazy game called LARP. And when someone is picked out of the crowd and harassed because, in this case, she ate some chips on camera, heaven forbid, then we need to talk about it. We need to talk about why that happened, and talk about how we can make it better for that person and also for other people. So that's what I want to talk to you guys about. And I'm just shooting on my webcam, really cheap and casual. But I wanted to get this done and out there, and I don't want to waste time setting up my camera. So, yeah, that's what we're here to talk about today. So for those of you who didn't watch Cheyanne's response to the comments that she posted on her Facebook page, she has a condition called chronic hyponatremia. And it's essentially a severe salt deficiency, which in my mind only confirms that she's actually a mermaid, but we'll get into that later. So she's not the only person who deals with chronic health conditions in LARP, and it's quite. I think LARP kind of draws in people who have chronic health and mental health conditions because we can be someone else. We get to be not ourselves, and we don't have to be the person who has aches and pains and anxiety and depression and a salt deficiency or whatever other chronic health conditions you may have. We get to be a hero or a monster or some crazy mystical being, and it takes us out of our own heads and our own lives, and for just a little while life is not as hard. And so to see people attacking someone because they were taking care of their health is really quite upsetting. I know some people have started the hashtag Salt for Cheyanne, I believe it's called, or Salt for LARP House. I'll put the link down, or not the link, but I'll put the hashtag down below for you guys. And I personally am not going to be doing that because I just can't. The idea of doing a shot of like salty liquid just doesn't. It's not doing it for me. But something I do want to do in support of Cheyanne is I want to talk about my own health conditions and how they affect LARP, and I want to encourage other LARPers to do the same, because I think it's important that people remember that we're all human, even if we don't want to be. We have to deal with real life stuff too. So I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety when I was 21, sorry. And I was in and out of hospital for a long time because of it. I've been in psychiatric wards 4 or 5 times, and I was in a like kind of halfway house sort of thing. It's not for addiction. It's actually like if you aren't severe enough to need a psychiatric ward, but they still want you supervised kind of thing. And then I've been on and off medication since I was 21. But my depression and my anxiety has been around for a long time. I actually remember the first thing that I would classify, other than I had major death phobia growing up. So from the time I was like 6 or 7, I remember panicking at the thought of dying. And I would lay in bed at night and just freak out. But the first, what I would really classify as an anxiety attack was when I was about 12. And my dad was lecturing us in his bedroom at his house in Merritt, and my sister and I were standing there. We were getting lectured. My stepmom's standing there, and she's watching me, and I'm hyperventilating. I'm starting to see black spots in my vision, and she's like, "You need to let her sit down." And he's like, "Oh, she's just being dramatic." And she's like, "No." And she looks at me. She says, "Sit down." And I think in hindsight, she knew what was happening because my stepmom had some mental health struggles. That particular stepmom had some mental health struggles as well. So that's my first memory of what I would really classify as an anxiety attack, after the kind of when I started having like what I would call death anxiety. And I dealt with depression and anxiety for a long time. I dealt with self-harm for a while. And so that's affected LARP for me. And actually, honestly, the depression and anxiety are kind of helped by LARP. They, being able to get out of my own head and just be someone else for a while is really therapeutic for me. I have had anxiety at LARP. I talked about that in a previous video. I also deal with chronic pain and fatigue. The fatigue hits me really hard at LARP sometimes. There have been times where I'm like literally sitting in the tavern and I'll doze off sitting upright in a chair. I have to nap sometimes at game. I find that if I keep my iron levels up during game, it's a little bit better. I talked about that in my kind of things you can do to benefit your health for LARP video. But the pain and fatigue definitely affect me. Pain especially. I am limited in what I can do when it comes to dungeons and going on like long hikes into the woods. I can't do any of those mods where I know that I'm going to be hiking out there for a while, because I know that on the way back it's going to be extremely painful, and I'm going to be... It's usually okay to go out, but when I'm coming back, I'm in a lot of pain. I actually had to stop and just like sit for a while. I've had to call out and go out of game to take a shortcut back to wherever we're going, and then I just wait out of character and join up with the people as they're coming back into game. But they've had like this whole conversation that I've missed out on because they were walking through and I can't. And that can be really stressful. I get really frustrated sometimes with myself. But I have to kind of listen to my body and what's going on with it. And so LARPers are people too. I really would like to encourage anyone who does LARP videos here on YouTube to talk about your own chronic health issues and how they affect your game. Because I think it's really important that we remind people that, you know, we eat and sleep and do everything else that everybody else does, and that we have health stuff going on that affects what we need to do. And if you can't handle that, don't watch the video. It's really simple. You don't have to be a jerk about it. I understand misophonia is a real thing. Turn the video off and walk away. You don't have to be an asshole about it. Anyways, I love you, Cheyanne. Love you guys. And yeah, just be nice to each other. Please.